Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining Chit Chat with Char. Today, I have the awesome pleasure of speaking with Mr. Karl Thompson with Proview Inspections. Mr. Karl, please join us.
Hello.
Hi. Good morning. How are you doing, sir?
Well, thank you. Very well.
Good. I am turning off my device here. So tell me a little bit about yourself. I have a bio for you, but tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the inspection business.
Okay, a little bit about myself is that Dallas born, been here all my life. Um, I went to South Oak Cliff High School. Yay.
Oh, congratulations on that huge win.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So once I got out of high school, I was like, want to know what I want to do, what I want to be. And I decided that I'm going to go to air conditioning and heating and get my degree there. And so
Okay.
that's what I did. I went to Cedar Valley College in Lancaster and got my degree in air conditioning, heating, and refrigeration. And I started working in that field. And before I decided to start my own business, then I started my own business in air conditioning, heating, and refrigeration, as well as I was doing light plumbing and light electrical work. And this is in the mid 80s, mid to late 80s. And so I did that up until close to 2000.
Okay.
And I had the opportunity to start working on air conditioning units in a commercial building. So I jumped into that, and that took me to being a chief engineer. A chief
Okay.
engineer is a person who oversees commercial building. You oversee the maintenance department. You oversee construction and build out, tenant build outs. And so I was part of that. And I did that until I decided that I want to do like a little pre-retirement type job. I'm ready to kind of like chill a little bit.
Okay.
And I was like, what I want to do, what I want to do, what I want to do. And I remember a friend of mine asked me to look at a house they was getting ready to buy, just look at the air conditioning heating unit for them and some of the plumbing. So I did that and I went to the house. I realized I was able to check out the whole house. Didn't have no idea. And so I said, look, I'm not licensed. You have to get your own inspector, but they trust me so much they want my opinion. So when
Okay.
that was done and I got home, I said, wow, I kind of like that. And so it just kind of happened that way to where I looked into it and I went to Champion School of Real Estate in Plano, and the rest is history.
That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
how has all of that experience helped you with your current business with your inspection business?
I think um, growing up, I did work with uh, friends and family uh, construction. I started like when I was 16, right?
Oh,
And
wow.
so I would dib and dabble in construction, and then with the AC thing, and then with commercial, it's just like it all came together, and all those experience led me to that inspection field. Which, if you would have asked me many years ago if I'm gonna be a home inspector, I would have said, no, I don't think so. But with all that experience, and when I went to school for inspection, I realized that hey, I have the knowledge and the gift. So I decided to just move forward in that direction.
Awesome. So you call it a gift. Why do you call it a gift?
I call it a gift because one, it wasn't planned. That wasn't my plan. Evidently, it was God' plan because it wasn't mine initially. I didn't think about that, and all the little things I learned along the way just brought me to this area. And it wasn't planned. It was just when you look back on it, everything just kind of rolled together and it just fell into place. And
Yeah.
and it's just crazy, crazy way it went down. But I love it. Wouldn't be doing nothing else.
So is doing the inspection work, is that a little bit easier than the HVAC stuff for like the commercial and residential? Is it a little less manual labor.
Exactly. Yes, it's inspection is a little bit easier on one hand,
Okay.
because when you I also did installation, so
Oh,
when you're
wow.
installing units and carrying the unit up in the attic or trying to put them on the roof and work on the roof under different type of elements, it's cold, it's hot, and then you labor it. Oh yes. I had paid my dues with air conditioning, heating, and now with inspection, like I said, on one hand, it's easier because you're not doing labor, you know.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
so that part is easier.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice. So you've been an inspector for how long? Tell me how long you've been an
7 years,
inspector.
going on 7 years.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so what is the difference between your company and another inspection company? What sets you apart?
That's loaded, and not putting down other inspectors. Y'all remember she asked me this questions.
Yeah.
Now, I think what set me apart is the passion I have for what I'm doing and
Hmm.
the passion I have for making sure that the buyers understand everything about that house.
Right.
My passion is for the people and the love I have to make sure that they understand. I think that separate me from them is the passion I have to make sure when they walk away from me, they know what they're getting into because it's their biggest investment of their life.
That's
So I want
right.
to make sure they understand everything about the home inspection process.
Right. Now, you and I have talked a little bit about what that process looks like for a buyer. So often we get to the end of the inspection and there's a 20 to 35 page report. And if you don't know how to read that in layman's terms, it can be very scary. So, you and I have talked about how you will go through this report with the buyers and help them to understand that, what's a deal breaker, what's not a deal breaker, what's cosmetic, what's, safety. I think that's really important. So, you talked about passion, you talked about it being a gift. Tell me a little bit about why you feel it's so important to give those type of details.
Well, I think it goes back to what I was just saying about making sure they understand what's going on with the biggest investment of their life.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very important that they understand that there's nothing in a home that can't be repaired or fixed, right? So, um, and you're going to always find something wrong. Uh,
Right.
I have done so many inspections over those 7 years, and I have yet to go to a house, new construction or not, and not find anything wrong. Right?
Right.
I'm going to find something. That's just the way it is. So explaining that to them, letting them know and understand that this may or may not be an issue. This may or may not be something that you have to worry about. This is something we need to talk about. And
Right.
so, spend that extra time. You say 25, 35 minutes. I do longer than that. And that's probably a little something else different from what other inspector may do. I make sure before I walk out that door and collect their money that they understand every single thing about the inspection, what I call out, and the reason why I call it out, because
Yeah.
their mind frame is, did it pass?
Yes. That's so true. That's true.
And I let them know it's not a pass or fail, because in my eyes, every home pass. It's just a matter of understanding what's going on and what you need to do, as far as thinking about the repairs.
Right.
And a lot of things that we call out, it starts from the smallest thing all the way up to the big things. And so
Right.
it's just a matter of getting those taken care of. And I want to make sure they understand each and everything that we call out in that 20-25 page report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I mean that I remember being a brand new agent and getting, having the opportunity to look at an inspection report and just remember thinking like no one really talked to me about this part of it.
Mhm.
And so I was fortunate enough to have an inspector who helped me to really understand that as a real estate agent. Because I think a lot of agents, that's something that, we know it needs to be done, but then actually going through the process is a totally different thing. And I just remember looking at this like, what is this? This is a lot. And I had to go back and recall when I bought my house, like, I don't remember buying this. Like, my first home was a new construction, it was new build. So we didn't go through the inspection process. Second and third home, I just didn't recall going through that process. And then our fourth home, because I was in real estate and was a little bit more versed, it all made sense at that point.
Mhm.
But my goodness, it's something. So how do you help real estate agents, especially brand new agents, to kind of understand what this report is and how they can deliver it to their clients?
Okay, I think the first thing is that when I'm at the house, and a lot of times some of the realtors show up at the inspection at the end as well.
Yeah.
Right? And as I'm going through my presentation, I make sure they understand that once I'm done here, our relationship do not start. I mean, I'm sorry, that does not end just because I'm taking your money. It starts here.
Okay.
So I let them know that, hey, you can call me. We can chat if you have any question, concerns about it, the report. Once you receive the report, if you have any questions you need, and I said that goes to you for you too, realtor, Miss Realtor lady, man. You can always call me, and I know the ones who's new, who've been in the game for a while, who's new or whatnot. So they call me and we
Yeah.
talk about it, and I want to explain to them. There are things, for example, foundation. um, they say, okay, they have a lifetime warranty. That's just one documentation. There's a whole lot of other documentation you need. So on new realtors, I explain that to them, the documentation they should be looking for and
Right.
what it should say and what it should look like. So I spend a lot of time speaking with new realtors. And also prior to COVID, I was hosting a lot of different classes, talking with realtors and going over some of the things that they, to help them understand once they get the report and see something like that.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
You mentioned doing inspections on new constructions. Talk to us a little bit about that, because some people don't feel like you need to do an inspection on a new construction property.
Yeah, I think that, I'm not saying this because I'm an inspector, but I really believe that it's necessary because those are human beings doing the work at the house.
Yeah.
And they can make mistakes. Not saying they trying to make the mistakes, but they make mistakes, and
Hmm.
hey, they gonna make a mistake. That's why you call a third party to come out and do the inspection to make sure that it's all good. I
Yes.
believe that it should be because you want to catch those things on the front end and at
Right.
least understand what's going on the front end,
Hmm.
opposed to after that 1 year warranty is up, and then you're like, okay, I have this issue now. Now you're gonna have this issue ongoing or whatever throughout the duration you living at home. So to
Right.
know at the very beginning, and you can address, at least you have an idea, you know what's going on, then you can make a good sound decision.
Got it. So, does your company offer phased inspections?
I do phase inspection. I do all of inspections. I do all three of the phase inspection. I do the 12-month warranty. Of course, new construction. I also do commercial construction inspection. I do it all. Anything that have inspection on the end of it,
You do it.
we do it. We do it.
So talk to us a little bit about the three phases of the new construction inspection for those listeners who may not understand what that phase looks like or what that process looks like.
Okay. Phase one is when you go out right before they pour the concrete. So they have built the base, to form, they form it all up. We go out there right before they pour. That's phase
Okay.
one, and make sure everything is level, everything's done right. Because if it's not and you pour, then you have an issue. So we come out right before then to do our inspection, make sure everything is in place and is doing what it's supposed to do before they
Mhm.
pour. That's phase one. Phase two It's when they frame up the house and they run all the electrical, all the plumbing, all the insulation, and they seal all the way around the exterior, around the doors, windows, and everything. We're making sure all the seals, penetration, everything is sealed, everything is in place like it should be. You have the right material, it attached to the framing properly, and all that. Right, and we come out right before they put up the sheetrock. Right before they put up the sheetrock, before they close it in, we take a
Mm-hmm.
look at it and make sure all that is in place. That's phase two. Now, phase three is your regular inspection at the end, right before you do your first walkthrough.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's a full inspection. That's checking everything from the foundation to the roof, everything in between.
Got it. So in this crazy market that we're in and everything that we've experienced with so many delays, do you have any fun stories to share with us? Specifically with new construction, as far as like going through these phased inspections, we understand that, the demand for supplies is high. There's low inventory. Talk to us a little bit about a story that, why your services was definitely needed during this process.
Well, okay, just like you said, with the inventory being low, I remember many years ago, they could build a home in 4 months, right?
Right.
Now it's taking a year
Or
because
more.
yeah, longer, of course,
Mhm.
because some of the stuff are on back order,
Right.
and then they're spreading these guys real thin because it's a big demand right now for construction, new construction. So those guys are stretched really thin, and they're just working their tail off and trying to make it happen. And so when you have to shut down one project because it's on back order, and then the buyers are calling me and saying, "Hey, they doing this and that. Is it correct? Is it right? Is it wrong? Who should I be able to talk to?" I get a lot of things thrown my way. It's like, wait a minute, this is above my pay grade. You talking to the wrong person. You need to start with your realtor first. You know,
Right.
and go there. But I get some crazy stories. But I tell you, um, I remember one time in a new construction, I was in a master bathroom
Okay.
and I ran the tub. And then I heard water coming up out of the toilet. And I had
Mm.
turned on the shower as well. And then water was flowing out the shower
Oh,
drain.
wow.
Yes, it was. And then when I shut the toilet off, when I turned the toilet off, water was still coming up out the shower drain and almost over the lip. And I'm like,
Oh,
wait a minute. And the water was coming up out of the toilet and the shower drain.
something
So
was wrong.
yeah. Yeah, something was wrong. And so it was a little nerve wracking because I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to clean up a whole lot. I'm have to get my wet vac out and do a lot of cleaning. So it wasn't fun at the time because I had to stop and spend time on cleaning up the mess. So
Right.
it wasn't fun. Then looking back on it, it was good that it happened, and so I was able to explain to them what was going on, and they was able to get in front of and get it taken care of before they moved in.
Got it. So in that case, what was happening? What happened?
Well, there evidently was something in the main drain line that was clogged, backed up, was backing up the water. Something got in there. Sometimes those guys, when they cleaning up, things fall into the drain line.
Yeah.
And so
Mm.
then it backs the water up. So at some point, somewhere down the road, there was a blockage,
Got
and
it.
and evidently they got it taken care of. But there
Right.
was a blockage in there, and it could have just been trash and whatnot when those guys work and they clean up, things accidentally fall into the drain. Yeah, that
Got
would be
it.
my guess.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, I know those crews, like you said, the skilled labor force is well, the workforce in general, right now is just something else.
Mhm.
It's striking to see the amount of people that don't want to work.
That's true.
Um, and not. And I think there's a lot of factors that contribute to that fact that people are not working. Um, but with that, the lack in skilled labor force, it makes sense that something like that could happen. because they're rushing to get to the next job so that they can meet their deadlines and
Right.
quotas for the builders. So it's a trickle down effect, especially when we have lack of inventory, the supplies on back order, and things of that nature. Everybody is trying their best to do what they can. And sometimes a lot of things are overlooked,
Yes.
especially in that workforce. Speaking of workforce, have you seen the new Amazon commercial? It's the Amazon commercial is called "You're Hired,"
No, I
and
haven't seen that.
you got to go Google it. It's very eye opening. And so basically, what happens in this commercial is you have all different people from all walks of life, and they're just giving their demands to the employer
Wow.
about what they want. I mean, it's serious. It's very eye opening. So, all different walks of life. You have one lady who says, "I can't come in early and I can't stay late." You have another guy who comes on and he says, "Well, I need to work between these hours because I don't want it to interfere with my other job." Another guy comes in and says, "Well, I would like for the company to pay for my tuition reimbursement for
Oh,
school, all of it." And it's just like, wow. And at the end of the commercial, Amazon says, "You're hired."
they don't have a choice.
I was just like, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just so alarming that we've come to this. I mean, I know um, I grew up in a generation where we like the stability
Hmm.
of having, one job, and we'll stay on that job for as long as we can, to provide for our families. But with this millennial generation, they come and go. And if it doesn't work for them, it's like, this is not working. Bye. And they won't give notice. They're,
It's that's crazy. That's
yeah,
crazy. This generation. Yeah, because I know exactly what you're saying. Because many years ago, when we was younger, you see help warning signs, and they come and go real quick. Now you
yes,
drive around right now, everyone is hiring right now. Everyone is
everyone.
hiring, and it's crazy that you can't get people to work.
Yeah.
The opportunity to better yourself and your family, and it's out there, and that you want to make demands. And it's sad that some of the companies have to take that in order to get them in the door.
Yeah.
That's sad. But it's so true.
It is. It is. And it's kind of scary because it's like, okay, where are we going? As far as companies
Mhm.
having a steady and stable workforce.
Yeah, when you talk about that, because if you making demands, before you even get hired, how are you going to carry yourself in that job from day to day? Are you going to continue to make demands while you're there? I'm not going to do this today.
Yes.
You're going to get away with it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you have to be careful, because if you allow them to start with that, then you can't control them once they up in that job and they decide, hey, I'm not coming to work today because I'm going to hang out with my friends.
Just don't feel like it.
Yeah, I don't feel like. And then you said, okay, well, then you can't build your own business. Now your company is still having a problem. You had
Right.
a problem looking for someone. Now you got them, and you still have a problem because
Right.
they calling the shots.
Yeah.
You have $1 billion company, and you letting this worker here tell you what he's going to do and not do. Uh,
Yeah.
That's crazy. Back in the day,
That would never happen.
never, never.
Never. I mean, the thought of, you making demands, and I could just imagine what some of these resumes look like.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
they probably just have one job on there. That's all I need. You take it or leave it.
Right, right, right. Or multiple jobs for a short period of time
Yeah,
because they come and go. And it's like, okay, yeah, I like this job until something else better and shinier comes through. And then, I'm on to the next thing. So that's a harsh reality that we're looking at right now.
yeah.
And it's sad. And it really just makes me wonder, how is this going to affect our economy. How is this going to affect the housing market,
Mhm.
the workforce? Like, it's again a trickle down effect. If you have so many people who are not willing to work, or if they do work, they have terms and conditions for which they're going
That's
to work
crazy.
with.
And that is crazy. Like you said, it's a trickle down effect. And we feeling some of that right now when we go to these stores and these shelves are empty, you
Yeah.
know, or you go to a restaurant and they have enough people to wait on you. So it's taking a little bit longer. So it is affecting us right now. And it may get worse if something doesn't change.
Right.
You know, if
Right.
something doesn't change, we're gonna be like, wow, you know, go to a store and it's like the whole shelf is empty. You
Yeah.
know, and you say, "Excuse me, I need some help." There's no one around to help you. You
And
know.
if they're telling you that when they want to work and how they want to work, can you imagine what the customer service is like?
Customer service gonna be trash. You know, because you turn around, "Excuse me, can you help me here?" No.
Yeah, what does this look like? I didn't come here to work.
Yeah, I just come here to get paid.
Yeah. I mean, it's really scary when you think about it. Like, what do you think has contributed to this point? Like, sometimes I think that it's COVID and people being, sheltered in place for that extended amount of time, people losing jobs during that amount of time. I think that personally, and I'm not an economist
Mhm.
or anything like that, but personally, I think that it was an awakening for a lot of people to start honing in on their own gifts and
Mhm.
hobbies, and so I think we have an emergence of entrepreneurs, new entrepreneurs who are taking risk and getting into real estate, getting into inspection, doing jobs that where they are their own boss.
Yeah, a lot of people want that, you know, but you have to build your base first. You just can't jump right in it, you know.
That's true.
And I think that COVID has something to do with it.
Yeah.
Also, when they did unemployment check and they gave them a little bit more money, and they said,
Yes.
"Wow, this here is giving me more than if I was working on a job, you know,
That's
some
true.
jobs." And
Hmm.
so they set on that,
Yeah.
and they milked that thing, you know. And in the process,
Mhm.
we as consumers need them at work, you know, so
Yeah.
we can go to a store or whatever the case may be and have that service that we should have, you know.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know how we're gonna fix that. You know, I don't know what they can do to change that around, but I think that something needs to be done, and then each person, their family member, really talk to them and ask them, what do you want to do, you know, in life, what you want to be, uh,
Hmm.
and what is your plan, and let me take
Right.
a look at your plan, let me help you with a plan, because it's okay if you go from job to job to try to find your niche, you know, find
Right.
what you really like and what you want to be. It's okay to go through that, but understand that, allow it to be a stepping stone, each job to be a stepping stone to
Right.
get to where you want to be. Now you're building your foundation, and just like a house, you start with the foundation first,
That's
and you
correct.
build it up, and then you're sitting on top of the world if you do it correctly. But
Right.
if you just bouncing around and you're all over the place, and if all our young people is doing that, yeah, it's gonna look real funny here in the next 15, 20 years. You know, it's gonna be odd, you know, and so we really need to change this, turn this thing around, and try to help the young people understand the importance of being on the job, and
Hmm.
and building your brand, and find out what you want to do, what you want to be, and become that, and become the
Right.
best person in that field.
Char, do
Absolutely.
you mind? I got a question for Karl. You mind if, or both of you really? You mind if I jump in real quick?
Yeah, jump in.
Absolutely.
So, Karl, what what do you think our media and our political system, both sides, Republicans and Democrats,
Oh,
do you think they play a role in creating unrealistic expectations for the younger people that we deserve more, and should only have to work less or when we want to. I mean, I see things like, let me give you an example. Taking out $100,000 in student loans to get a degree that most people in that university know is not going to pay you enough money to pay that loan back. That's creating a burden on those kids, and I call them kids because they're young enough to be grandchildren right now. But those expectations that, oh, I'm going to get this degree and I'm going to have as much money as LeBron James or the celebrities that I'm seeing where the money just flows like it's never ending.
Right.
And then our government mandates that these businesses like Amazon have to hire people under some of the worst possible perceptions. I mean, as far as, yeah, you can work whenever you want to. When you need money, just show up and I'll pay you for being here that day.
Yeah.
When our government gets involved, and I think what you were saying, people need to be allowed to run their businesses the way they feel like their businesses are going to succeed. And if they don't succeed, that's on you, the business owner. You have to make those adjustments. If Amazon can create a business model where people can show up 1 hour a day and they can still make money, good for them. But not all businesses are like Amazon.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All businesses can't do that. Amazon's got distribution centers all over the United States and probably all over the world.
Right.
They have a model where that commercial you're talking about, Char, I saw it and it kind of irritated me at first. I'm like, well, it works for them, right? And so, and that's a good thing for the people that are going to college and the people that may need a second job where they can go and work 3 or 4 extra hours a day at an Amazon and distribution center or deliver for them, kind of like what people do with Uber and with Lyft.
Right.
But for the small business owner that needs to build some consistency, that consistency starts with the employees. And for the government to tell us that we need to be like Amazon or some of these other companies, and then the media to carry that over, that the small business owners taking advantage of this person, that's what creates the hardships for us as a small business owner and independent worker.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's we keep using this word. It's a trickle down effect. I think with our government, Republican and Democrat, the guys are on 2 different agendas. They so far right, so far left, to a point to where it's confusing for the people in our country here to understand what direction we're going in when they are so far apart and just bickering on every little thing. So we don't have our government leading us down one road.
Right.
Every politician seems like they have their own agenda. And so it makes it confusing for people looking for that help to come trickle down to give them some type of guideline, some type of avenue that they can go, because it's all over the place. And when you talk about colleges, my daughter is 10 years older than my son. She went to college, got a degree, and then we looked at the money that we owed. Like, wow. So my son said he wanted to go to college too. I said, okay, hey man, have you ever considered community college? He said, no, I want to go with my sister there. I want to go to a university, because I'm thinking, I know my daughter, she had changed her major when she was in college. And of course, she's not even working in the field that her degree is in. And same with my son. So he wanted to go to a 4-year college. He wanted to be, living on the campus and do all the things that his sister did. And so I looked at that at the end, and I'm like, wow, from her time to his time, the money just shot straight up what the universities are asking for. And to your point, they not in that field. And I went to a community college, and I got to where I wanted to be a lot faster and with less overhead for as paying for school. So I think it's just education, it's getting into the kids' head and showing them different scenarios and let them understand, if you go this route, this is where it might lead you. But if you go this route, this is where it may lead you. we're not getting that from up top. So I think it'll take all of us to try to reach out and extend our hand and knowledge and talk to those kids and let them know that, hey, look, right now our government system is it's broke. It's broke.
For sure.
And,
In a lot of ways.
yeah, and so we who have the knowledge and understanding need to get in the kids' ear and hopefully make a change, about one kid at a time.
Right.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
Well, you want to tell you something. Let me give you a little bit of irony. That 18-year-old, 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old kid out of high school can get a $25,000 to maybe more year loan, right? Borrow $25,000 to go to college this year, $25 to go next year. So you can borrow $125,000 to go to school. But take the same kid to come out and try to get a loan to open a business at that age.
Oh no, they won't loan you the money. They won't
loan you your money. Now, what makes them believe that they're going to be any more capable of paying back $125,000 after partying for 4 years than someone that is not everybody does that, but well, I know what I did.
Right.
So, but then you got this kid that comes out and he's focused and he wants to start a business that could maybe change the community and change the world, and nobody will help him.
Have that overhead. He got that overhead of the 125,000, so he's already in the hole before he even gets started in life.
That's true.
And that's the thing that, like, we taught our kids, my wife and I, was that, look, don't get not one single credit card while you're in college. We got you if you need it. We got you. And so when you, and then we pay half. We want them to pay half of their college tuition so they can be motivated. And because my thought was at first that I'll pay it. My wife said, no, they're gonna have to pay something. And then it was a good idea. She was right, because they pay half, then we pay half. So it gave them a incentive to get in and get out. And that's what happened. And they worked with my daughter. Then when my son went, it worked with him. And so we can help them so they won't have that big overhead. So what would have been 100,000, turn out to be for them maybe 40. And so that give them, and my daughter paid hers off, and so it's one of those deals where if you have to try to help them get in front of all that mess, and then, give them an opportunity, because they get credit cards and then they have that tuition over their head too. They starting in a hole that they may not even get themselves out of.
So I was reading an article last week. This guy went to school to be a chiropractor, and I've worked some on student loans, helping people get out of default and stuff like that. And this guy, actually, his student loans were $253,000 when he graduated from chiropractic school. He has not, because he had to buy all of his equipment, right? He had to set up his practice and everything like that. So that's more debt that he's gotten into, and he's having to pay that back. So he's had to basically go into forbearance for his student loans. Well, people don't realize that you start paying interest on top of interest when you do forbearance. So now that $253,000 has actually doubled. He owes $500,000 in student loans right now, and now he cannot afford to pay it back. And so there needs to be, I mean, I know that in some cases, even getting a home, you've got to go through, before you get a home loan, you got to take some courses, and you got to understand, finance a little bit better than maybe you did before you bought a home. There needs to be some education on these student loans and what the impact's going to be when you graduate, and if you don't find something in your career. And they're not telling them that. They're just, they're dumping the money in the account. And it's kind of like what you said, Karl, about community college. I had a friend that went to one of the larger schools here in Texas. I won't call the name, but it's out in Lubbock. They have a lazy river on campus.
Wow.
Now, why? Explain to me. I get it. That's very attractive for, you all right, I'm coming out of high school. I'm going to go live at a resort and go to class every day.
Mhm.
But you're paying for
Right.
that resort. You're not paying for the education. You're paying for all the fluff.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And you know, some of those classes that they asked them to take to fulfill those credit hours doesn't make sense to me too. 'Cause I know my kids, they had classes that didn't even, it wasn't even part of,
Relevant.
yeah, it wasn't, but it was something that the school,
Required.
requires, and that's make more money for the college. I mean, for the
Mhm.
college, and it's not helping the kids. So yeah, the system is broke when it comes to that. But I think government needs to mandate that. They need to oversee that, and I education board and our government system need to really look into that and try to break that thing down. But then you're talking about them fighting against a whole bunch of people with a whole lot of money, and they enjoy getting this money and preying on young people and family all to continue to get rich, and they're not gonna let anybody come in and change that system up.
No,
You know
it's
what? That's a
working.
great. Go ahead, Charmaine.
I was just going to say it's working for them. So what is the incentive for it to be fixed? There's nothing broken in their eyes. It's broken to the people that have to deal with the system. And when you have people at the top making decisions for people at the bottom who they have probably never even experienced some of the hardships and some of the things that people are going through at the bottom, they're making a decision, oh, I think we should do this. And that's, I think, where we have the issue. And Karl, to your point, the bickering back and forth is not doing anything for any of us. And Lyndon, you and I have had this conversation before as well. When it all boils down to it, we all want the same thing for our family. We all want the same things. There's no difference from Karl, from you, Lyndon, from you, and myself. We all
Right.
want the same things. When it boils down to it, we want security. We want safety. We want to be able to have our kids to get a great education so they can better their future. We want to be able to walk outside of our door and know that we're not going to see a crime right before us.
Right. And we want to know that when we go to work every day, whether we're working for someone or we're working for ourselves, that the effort that we put in is going to be rewarded, and we're going to be able to get ahead because of that effort.
Exactly.
And our system is not set up for that now. And I really do believe that our government, not to get off on a tangent, but I think that they create social situations so we all feel victimized, but our victimization is projected onto our neighbors and not onto the rightful person, which is the media and the politicians, because if they keep us divided and keep us feeling like we have a problem, we have to keep voting for them. The minute problems are solved, we don't need politics anymore, because we're happy and we're going to get along all by ourselves. And that frustrates me to no end, because they are dividing us, and they don't realize that, just what you said, Char, if they left us alone, if the media just shut up, we would all get along, go to work every day, love our families, take care of our families, and we'd be just fine.
And take care of each other.
We would take care of each other.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, there wouldn't be any enemies, right?
No,
because we all agree that we want the same things.
Right.
And so it's not going to be a problem for me to lend a hand to help you to get to the next level.
Right.
That's right.
Very and well. Something, Karl, something you said earlier, and Charmaine, you'll catch this, but he said something about the predator, preying on those students, those young people and people that are. I mean, you think about who is looking to get an education to get ahead almost more than anybody. It is the lower income people that are just looking for a way out. So now they go to college, they get this big loan. That doesn't help them whatsoever. And I get frustrated. So I do think that there's some predatory lending there from our own government.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if people really, really looked at it, it's predatory lending. They are preying on people that need something that most of them really can't afford to get. But
and they're going to pay for it. They're going to pay a high rate for it because they believe so much in their future and wanting to do something better with their lives. So they're going to pay for it.
And we hear all the time. real quick, Carl, you hear all the time, especially the politicians, that let's do student loan forgiveness. And I'm not for that, because I think you signed up for it. You should have known what you were doing. I think there needs to be some caveat there, but here's one of the caveats that I think: if we're going to forgive student loan debt, then the university that was the beneficiary of that student loan debt needs to pay half of it. They need to give half of it back.
That will work too.
And that's not going to happen. I'm just that's a real cute idea, but that's not going to happen.
That proves my point right there. The beneficiaries have taken the money and ran, and they've left everybody else holding the bag.
Holding the bag.
And if the government ever figures out a way to do student loan forgiveness, guess who pays for it? It's the same people. They're just going to pay for it in taxes. We're just going to spread it out on all of us. And you know, the government officials and the big universities, it's not going to affect them. They got the money.
Yeah. It's a sad thing. It's totally sad, and I don't see a solution anytime soon. You know, the way things are going, and the rich is getting richer, and the poor is still trying to figure it out like they did from day one. You know, and it's sad, but you know. That's just where we are right now in this world.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so speaking to that, as a small business owner yourself, Lyndon, you're a small business owner. I'm a small business owner. What is it that we can do to help in this? We know that from the top down, there's not a solution that's going to happen tomorrow. So as small business owners, what do we think we can do to make steps in a positive direction?
I think that, you know, like Charmaine, you and I, we are out and about.
Yes.
And we meet people every day, all day.
Yeah.
And if you can meet someone and have a conversation with them and share your knowledge, and let them know that if they want to have a continued conversation with you, here's my number, here's my card. You know, call me, let's sit and talk. If your parents want to be there or whatever. I used to mentor kids. I started like when I was 16. Then I started coaching them, and then I got married and had some kids. Then I started back mentoring again. So I'm always wanting to meet a young man, talk to him, and try to drop a little nugget here or there. And not all of them is receiving it, you know. But if you get one that like, oh wow, you know, then you talk to that kid, you know, and you try to help that kid, because they have to understand that it starts. You can't. It's not. This world is not like it looked like it's microwave that things can happen right away.
Yeah.
You have to start from the bottom and build your foundation and put a plan together and look at that plan, make sure that plan is right, and then execute that plan.
Right.
You know? And then along the way of executing that plan, you're going to have to make adjustment to that plan, because things happen, things change and move around and all of that. So you just need to make adjustment to that plan, and you're not a failure if you're trying.
Yeah.
You know, you're on a failure when you don't try.
You don't try. That's right.
We have to get in their ear. When you have the opportunity to do so, we have to do that. You know, I know we're all extremely busy, and I would love to mentor again. Well, I am mentoring a young man now at North Texas, in Denton. And this started when he was 15, I think. And he's getting ready to graduate University of Texas, North Texas, and then this May. And I take a lot of pride in that, because where he was and where he is now, you know, and what he had to overcome. So reaching out to someone, be able to help them and show them. You can't help them all, but if you have one or two young kids, he might talk to his friends. His friends see what he's doing, like, how did you get there?
Right.
You know? So we have to do it ourselves. We can't expect the government or anyone else to come down this far down. They can't see this far down.
You're right.
They can't see no farther than their bank account and what they doing and getting more money. So
Right.
we in a position, we can see it. So if we can see it, then that's where the help start right there.
I
Yeah.
agree with that
I love it.
100%. I think it all starts at a grassroots level in the small
Yes,
communities. We
yes.
have to
Yes.
unite together. We have to block out the noise that's telling us we don't need to get along and why we don't need to
Mhm.
get along, and pointing out some true differences, but then some made up differences. And I
Yeah.
think I take it a step further politically. I think that we all, the small business owner, the the communities, we need to really start looking at Washington, and they're not ever going to put term limits in, so we have to put those term limits in ourselves. And I don't think that anybody should be elected after 2 terms. I don't care how
Mhm.
good you were while you were there. You're a servant of this country. You should not be a professional politician that
Mhm.
makes more money on retirement than half the people in this country will ever make.
Mhm.
And so
Right.
if we remind each other of that let's vote them out after 2 years. Appreciate your service. Thank you very much, but that's enough. Let's get somebody else in there. Times change.
With fresh ideas and new
Right.
perspectives.
Right.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Things are changing. We got people that's been up there for 40, 50 years. You
Yeah.
cannot tell me that they truly in a weekend every quarter, when they go and they talk to their constituents, that they have a good pulse or feel of the pulse of those communities. They just don't. They
No,
don't live like
they're not
that.
in it long enough. They're not there long
No,
enough. They're not there
they're
long enough.
not.
Absolutely.
And
That's right.
it needs to be our neighbors. It needs to be the small business owner that takes their
Mhm.
turn, his or her turn, in Washington, in whatever government, in Austin, wherever it may be, because they are the ones that are experiencing the challenges. And a lot of times
Right.
they have really good answers. Um,
Yeah.
and we need to take turns being that political system for our country, and quit electing professional politicians.
Right. Well, and I think that what we're all trying to say here is that we have to get involved on our levels, which is in the community,
Mhm.
in order to affect change on a bigger level. And it's going to take more than me, more than you, Karl, more than you, Lyndon. But it has to be a commitment from all business owners, all small business owners, to be able to get out there in the community in service to make a difference. And it's going to take time, but I think if we can all understand that this is what's needed if we want to see true change. It's needed, and it has to come from us. One of my
Mhm.
favorite quotes is by Mahatma Gandhi, and it says, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." And that, I mean, when
Amen.
you think about what that
Beautiful.
quote means, we all have ideas of what we would like to see different in this world. And in order for us to really see that, we have to be that change. We have to be the example. We have to be the one to speak up when it's time to speak up.
That's
We have to
correct.
be the one to go and get out there and get dirty, roll up our sleeves when it's time to roll up our sleeves. And I think that because, like you said, Karl, earlier, we can get so overwhelmed with our own life, with our own businesses, that we don't even look up to see that the world around us is crumbling
So
because we're just so into what we're trying to do. We're trying to build legacies for our families. Meanwhile, everything that's around us is crumbling.
yeah, I agree. Very well said. And I think, trying to tackle the government, we need to tackle the governor, the mayor. That's where it'll trickle down a little bit faster. Getting the
Yeah.
right person in that reflects what's going on in your area, in your town, your state. I think it starts there. Put pressure on that person.
Yeah.
It'll get down to us a lot faster than trying to go to Washington.
Right.
That's true.
Right. I like that. I like that. That's a great point. And it's like you said, it's getting in the community.
Hmm.
They are the ones who's closest
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
to us, is and they're in our community. So yeah, there is a lot of work to do. And I know that we feel like we have just solved all the world's problems in this hour.
If they would just listen to us, that's all.
Well, we have the answers.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. But I mean, I think it's conversations like this that will make the change,
Yes.
because there is a lot that we need to work on. There is a lot. I mean, when you look around, there's just a lot of injustice. Um, in so many different areas, in housing, in the police systems. I mean, there are so many things that it seems so big that most people will just put their head down and act as if it doesn't affect them because it's so big.
Because it's
It,
so easy to do that.
it
It's
is.
a lot easier to just put your head down, walk away from it, than to get involved and try to make something happen. And so
Absolutely.
I think you talk about homeless, you're talking about the elderly,
Gosh.
the elderly, and just it's so much that can be tackled and so many things that we can do to make a difference and to help. Um, so it's crazy. We need to, down here, we need to do something
Yeah.
to try to help, and I try to do my part. Before this pandemic, I was ever since 2002. I would do like an angel tree, and I reach out to little kids. I go to a elementary school,
Yes.
and I bless those kids with gifts every year.
Hmm.
I bless family. I do giveaways. I work with people to go into the senior living center and give things to the seniors and things like that. As a small business person, I was doing it before I had my own business. That was just in my heart to do so.
Right.
And I just believe those little things like that, if more people would do little things like that, you have been a blessing to some people who is in a situation at that moment, and they can't find their way out. But being a blessing to them can lift them up, and
Yes.
then now they can be a blessing,
Yes.
Or when you're giving tours and gifts to young kids, and they see this person who's not even in my family. This guy don't even know me, and he's
Right.
doing this. That may have some effect on them as they get older, want to help someone else.
You do the same thing.
So little things like that, if we all just pitch in and do things like that, I think it's going to make somewhat of a difference. It's not going to clean everything up,
Right.
but it will. I think in my heart, I really want to believe that we continue to do things like that. We can be a part of helping this situation out.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. We are just a few minutes before wrapping. Karl, I want to give you the opportunity to, give one word of advice about anything that you wish to, and also give us your contact information for any of our listeners or viewers who may not have your access to your contact information. Go.
Oh, well, we was talking about homeless. We're talking about seniors. We're talking about the government. I think you said one word of advice.
Yes.
I think one word of advice, something that I always have done, is to look at what you want to do, what you want to become, and put a plan together. And I said this from minutes ago. It's so important. You may not know what you want to do, what you want to be, but with every step that you make it, plan it out.
Hmm.
Plan it out, look at it, evaluate it, and see what you can do to make it better. And try different things till you find out what is, the thing that you want to become, that you like. And then you put a plan together. I'm a big planner. I believe in planning out everything. Every year I'm planning. I put it down and I plan it out and I try to work through it to perfection. And if doing so, that lets you know, is this something I want to do, I want to become, or if it is, then make sure I become the best person with that plan. You always want to use every day in your life as a stepping stone. Just don't get stagnated and be in one spot too long. Uh, Use it as a stepping stone. If it went well or it went bad, still use it as a positive. Everything is a positive while you're trying.
That's right.
When you're trying is a positive thing, even if it didn't go well for
Mhm.
you. It's still positive, and just keep moving forward, because some of the things that didn't go well is going to teach you how to move forward.
Right.
So
Right.
that's my little advice there. And you can reach me on my website, which is proviewinspect.com. If you want to reach me on Facebook, it's Ask Your Proview Inspector. Or you can call me. You can see I got a gift to gab. So
Yeah.
number is 972-268-2474. So, hey, any one of those ways there, you can catch up with me, and I would love to talk to you. Have any question about the home buying process as far as the inspector is concerned, reach out to me. Let's sit and talk and chat. I would love it. And to you guys, I wish you a very Merry Christmas, and thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for
Merry
taking the
Christmas.
time to chat with me on today. This was a very enlightening conversation. And I really did enjoy it. I thank you for our partnership. I thank you for our friendship. And this has been Chit Chat with Char, where our mission is to connect, collaborate, and cultivate. We thank you so much for joining us on today. And like Karl said, we wish you all a Merry Christmas, and we wish you all the best. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.